So sir and ma'am operate some of the fanciest watch shops, jewelry shops in town, boutiques. How many of your staff can actually explain to me how this watch works? They're handling it every day, endlessly. And I'm talking of a wound watch, and that's how it goes. So that curiosity to want to know, even let us say that shutter, when you open that shutter, what happens? When you turn that handle here, what happens? What is moving there? How are the gears structured? Can I do something else with those gears? If I do something else, will I move it with the same lesser effort? And the chinna ponnu varale, can she also turn it round? You have to keep thinking for something which is different. Encourage that. Reward that. Once you start reward, today we are stuck in a little bit of an educational system where it is punishable to ask questions constantly. I think the start is there. We need to allow our children to ask questions. The more questions they ask, the better they are. If you start that, okay, today nanga chapter 2 la paripom, page 1, I will read it out and explain thereafter, that is the end of the damn story. So there's an innovation factor which is calculated for countries. We need to grow on the innovation factor. There was never a shortage of brains. There was never a shortage of mind. After all the things which we did, people are still struggling to do. Crazy things our ancestors have done. In terms of everything. They have measured the diameter of planets way before Galileo was born. We've given zero. We've done, I'm not talking mythology. These are recorded facts. Need to re-allow it to happen. Or allow it to re-happen, whichever way you want to see it. Challenge assumptions. When you as the leader stand in front of your team and give them a question or a decision, are you willing to accept that there is another way to do it? The day you do it, you will allow people to think of new ways. And one of those new ways will be that bright spark which will change our future. Otherwise, if it's just about compliance of instruction, then anybody can do it. It requires only a mule. This is very important. Group thinking has to be avoided. So yesterday I put on my LinkedIn or Instagram site, I don't remember which one, I put a little poster which said that leaders must listen to the softest voices in their team because great strength comes from a soft voice. So about 200 young people have responded to me already on this particular one and say, sir, in all our teachings we are told to shout in group discussions, bang the table and say the nation wants to know we have corrupted this country. Because that child or those children believe that unless they speak loudly, nobody is going to hear them, and that is a shame. To speak sense or to speak truth to power, you don't need a loud voice. We can save that for our TV anchors of today. In an academic discussion, the volume of the voice is actually inversely proportional to the knowledge that it conveys. The lesser the knowledge, the louder the voice. And this is a big problem. So that person who's actually thinking may be speaking softly and may never get heard. So as a leader, you've got to find that person and encourage that person. Otherwise that spark will go away. And the 2070 will only be a graph. Look for diversities. So there is some major research that's carried out and they've inferred that diverse people only provide awesome results. So homogeneous group of people, so hypothetically if we were to argue that if the United States had no immigrants at all, if there were only Native Americans there, would they have produced anything at all in the world? As per this argument, the answer is no. Because they have been fertilized by a diversity of views, most of whose parents are sitting in this audience. That's how it is. So they are able to produce what they do. So look for diversities. Diversities within our country are also plenty. When you look for diversity, you'll get different points of view. Some people have never been educated to believe that it can't be done. So I'll give you a very small example, ridiculous example. So we have 5 dogs and 2 of them are big dogs. So yesterday when we were walking, normally other stray dogs and all run away when we walk, but one was a big dog. So there was a adolescent pup. Yeah, pup, not quite a dog. that kept standing there and looking at our dogs. It didn't move. Because the mind had not taught it fear. So it kept standing there and it actually wanted to play. But all the bigger dogs ran away. That is classic mind and fear brain at play. In a couple of weeks that will also run away, and that is how it works. So please keep this in mind. Allow experiments. This is what actually stimulates neural networks. With experiment comes failure. Now I keep arguing, in the army we love demonstrations. है ना? 3 बार तुम rehearsal करते हो ना? 4 बार करते हो, 5 बार करते हो. You have a painful boss, 6 बार भी करोगे, 6 times. Because you don't want failure. That's a demonstration. In an experiment you allow failure because failure is the biggest teacher. But if you tell me can't fail, then I'm dead. You gave the example of Elon Musk, he never passed. I mean, he may have passed, but he didn't really pass. Nobody is asking him his marks now. Definitely not the science teacher who failed him. So, risk taking we've spoken about. Look for unexpected places. So I don't even know whether Mr. Shivkumar remembers this, but long back we had a conversation. So it takes 2 to remember. I also remember some conversations of yours, where you told me that some executives of a jewelry company actually went on a cross-fertilization visit to a hospital and discovered something. That is how learning happens. You go and do something which you haven't done before, look at an industry which is nothing to do with what you do, you will find that magic learning. You may not find it. At the end of it, you'll make 3 friends. That's okay. Even that is a bonus. So find that and encourage it. Mindfulness. This is very, very important. I think somewhere down the line between ancient India and modern India, we missed this trick. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not even a spiritual guru. I don't pretend to be that. But I think, when we talk of mindfulness, it's about control. Essentially about control. And when you train your brain to control your mind when you want it to, and you say the mind, sweetie, you wait here, I am exploring this much more, and I will come back. And then you regain control thereafter. It is these little windows actually which led to spectacular discoveries. Can you do it? I'm arguing we can, and I'm arguing we did it. And today, the science of neurology actually tells you that all these are possible. We let it go. But it's possible to train ourselves to redo it. So we spoke about mindfulness. Reflection, I haven't spoken about. It's about introspection. It's about talking to oneself. Now, why should we do this? You could argue, sir, very good, but why should I do it? I have no answer to that why. Because that is a matter of your choice. Towards the end, we will speak a little bit on this, why should I do it? But if you don't have an answer to the why, then you can't go on this journey, then you let your mind remain paramount. If you want the brain to go ahead, you must answer the question why. So, why would you want to do it? Universe. Adena t-shirt ade? Bakers. Hikers. Yeah. Why? Why would you want to do it? Anything. Why would you want your brain to overcome your mind to do something spectacular? If you don't want to, then you sit down.
No, I don't want any obstacles to stop my destination. I wanted to...
Varo, there will be millions of obstacles.
Yes,
Why do you want to go? That's the question.
Why should I just sit in the...
And that's not the... You can never answer a question with a question unless you're a lawyer. Sumati ma'am, apologies.
I wanted to reach by the destination.
Adna, in the destination, and which is that destination?
I want here for a purpose. To attain that, I want...
Awesome. You want to fulfill whatever you're here for.
Purpose.
We will take that. Okay? Fine. So Find Your Why is a beautiful book. Please buy that book and read it. Yeah, it's an awesome book. And I'm not getting a commission. The publisher doesn't know me. It's just a great book. Find it and read it. So normally companies know the what. What is it that you do? You make watches, you make jewelry, you make buildings, you make movies. What is something everybody knows in every industry? You study, what does the army do? Good question. I mean, we guard you all. We guard the country. So we do what? How do we do it? We have our own ways of doing A, B, C, D, E. We do it. How do we do it? We get raw material, we process it, factory, value addition, A, B, C, custom laws, taxation, paperwork, sale, profit, celebration. That's one cycle. And then 1 year goes by, you come back to start. Why do you do it? Why do you do what you do? This is the why to which I want you to find an answer for. Most people struggle to find the answer to this why. And if you can find the answer to the why, then you actually got your brain working. Not the mind, the brain. The rest two are brain activities. The third one is the brain one. Once you find the why, then you must ask what next. That is when you go into that outside the earth into our solar system. So I'll go first to moon, then I want planet A, B, C, D, E. When you reach the edge of the solar system, what do? And go to the next solar system. My lifetime will get over. So if you keep thinking my lifetime will get over, it will get over. The question why, if you answered, then it's fine. If you not answered, you got to keep doing it. So most of us, when we see the solar system, you see the sun there and everybody orbiting around, right? But the fact that the sun is also hurtling through space. So the sun is moving and all these planets are moving around and the entire mass of the universe is going that way. And there are other suns around with their own planets and so on. That is how the universe looks. Who made the universe? Pause and think about it sometime. Ask yourself these questions and you'll find beautiful answers, or you may not find answers. When you don't find answers, look for answers, the knowledge base will increase. Please understand that the brain without a knowledge base is useless. The brain needs the mind to explore because that is the foundation. It is not one without the other. It is one that utilizes the other. So we had these doors. The first way, hello, no patients today. So Geeta is an awesome Kannada doctor. They opened a code clinic on T Nagar. So you can have lunch in GRT or breakfast in GRT and go to code. Thank you, welcome. So these doors are closed. What happens when you open these doors? Now, the brain is sitting inside and this is the mind. And the doors are closed. Now when you open the doors, you'll normally see a sight like this. Now these children need to study outside, metaphorically. Outside is where education happens. Outside is where you'll challenge the postulates of today. Outside is where the future is built. Because the answer is to say the yes. Now moon pomudima, yes. Are there any other living beings anywhere else in our universe or in other universe? Yes, find out. Let me know. I don't know. So today morning I was watching a documentary on TV and there are some rock formations in Peru, I think. So what the entire landscape is filled with rocks which have iron ore, so they're red in color. So 1,000 years back, that dynasty has died, there's nobody there, have moved the rocks out and created shapes. Now, the shapes are that of a lizard, a condor, a flying bird, some other animal, and a man in a space suit. The closest you can come to today is a modern man in a space suit who's walking on the moon or photographed with a helmet and all. Now, the smallest of these drawings is about 4 kilometers long, which means standing on the ground you cannot see the diagram. The only way you can see the diagram is if you are 300 feet in the air. How did they make this diagram? There are enough engineers and architects in the audience. You cannot make it. And it may not have been without a purpose. We've lost that purpose. So, did they do something right that we are not doing? I don't know. I'm only arguing, is it possible to do? That's all. So need to open and reopen doors constantly. Constantly. So when I tell a group of teachers that it is forecasted that in 2050, 70% of all education will be digital. All education. So you give me a person with the potential, you give me the technology, in 3 years I will create you. Don't need to study for 14, 50, 20 years. So you don't need to study 17 years to become a doctor. Give me 3 years, give me the technology, I'll give you a doctor. But that doctor can only do left eye. Cannot do right eye. Don't ask for right eye, give her a doctor. I'm confused, mix the problem. So I'm saying only heart. Boss, he does not know stethoscope also. Or she. But you give them a beating heart and they will rock it. Heal it. That's what technology can do. We've got to accept that it will do it and allow ourselves to approach it. But how do we do it? I put the how do we do it very small. Because the how is the very difficult part. What is very easy? Till now, very easy, spoke all English. How do we do it? We'll discuss in very simple terms. Here and I will bring it down to the absolute bottom level as me. I am completely uneducated. After class 11, I never went to college. Everything that I have acquired is after class 11 through correspondence or gratis. When you become a senior officer in the army, people will call you, put that cap on you and give you a certificate. So you also take one photo like that and go. So no education, only photos. But there's a genie in each of us. And I'm saying, how do we unleash that genie? That lamp is the brain and the mind and the genie is the brain. We need to be able to unleash it. Let's see how we can do it. So first thing is know your why. Why do you? If this why is not answered, you cannot take the second step. Why would you want to do it? Why? And the why can be for anything. The second one is to take that first step. This is the scariest step. Scariest step, whatever you may want, even it may be, calling up Madras University and saying, I want to speak to the head of the department of anthropology and I want to ask you, sir, the origin of Dravidians. He may be biased and give you one political, religious spiel, that is a different issue. But to take that step and to ask him or her is that difficult thing, so please take that first step. Next is, of course, consistency. The first step may burn you. You'll come back, so keep taking that first step again and again. That's very important. You can't sit where you are, do what you do, and expect the change to happen. You have to step out of what is comfortable to you. So, sir, meeku Telugu vacha? Baa maatladta Telugu? Nenu ippadi nunchi Telugu cheppalani andarku ardham avudda? Andaru maatladtara? Tidtaru sir? కొడతారు. ఈజ్ ఆల్సో హియర్, కానీ మీరు ఇద్దరు ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేయలేరు కదా సార్. మీరు తెలుగు బాగా మాట్లాడతారా? ఫుల్ అదే కంఫర్ట్ జోన్ నుంచి బయట రావాలి కదా మీరు. తెలుగు అర్థం చేసుకోండి, మీరు కొంచెం అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకోండి. నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడుతూ ఇప్పటి దిస్ కంఫర్ట్ జోన్ ఛాలెంజ్. If you have a Gujarati audience, say, boss, I will learn Gujarati. I will learn enough Gujarati to make the audience fall in love with me. After that, I'll speak in English. They will not even know I've spoken in English. But I have to step out and say I'm willing to do it. Can you get the most educated person in the world and say, speak to a group of kindergarten students? The world's biggest, most powerful speaker, can you tell him or her, you have this topic, you have 3 minutes. They will die. They will die. 3 minutes is only. So, step out of the comfort zone, do things which you haven't done before. That is how change happens. The next one is perseverance. You will fail. So there will be multiple failures. No failure should be big enough to cause you to stop your pursuit of excellence, no matter what it is. Whether it is baking a new dish, or whether it is, I don't know, creating a new movie, writing a new essay, finding out what is beyond our solar system. Is there, why does Saturn have a hexagonal, spinning hexagon on the top of it? Why is only one planet spinning other way around? Ask these questions, you must know these answers. Will something come out of these answers is a separate issue. That is the what do I do with this knowledge question. For that they have to invite me for another session. That's not part of now. Attitude is very important. Attitude, this is attitude. Attitude is also this. Attitude is also this. Service. Attitude is also, sir, please come sit, talk to me, I'll listen. Attitude is also reading. Attitude is also acknowledging that the other person is an expert. All of these are attitude when it comes to pursuit of the brain. Negativity and what it does is self-explanatory, because for every person who's trying to do something, there is somebody in that orange line which I showed you around the brain, or that black line around the brain who's trying to pull you back. They will always be there. Chill. Ignore them. They will always be there. Because your why has to be answered. And the how. Then those people are irrelevant. You cannot do anything alone. Who made the scaffolding for Da Vinci to paint the Sistine Chapel? Somebody did. Must have been a hell of a thing painting the dome. Lying upside down, or, in whichever way he painted it. Or painted it down and then fixed the roof. Somebody helped. The teams are very important. No doctor can do what he or she does without a team. Teams are as important, particularly when you're pursuing what has not been pursued before. Your support teams are very, very important. Change. You are about to bring about change, and the change will happen. So please don't worry what you're doing or thinking is spectacularly big or just routine. That small routine change may actually add up 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 and become a spectacular change. You don't know. So allow people to change. You have to change with them. Perfect example of change. Quickly, who's studying? Anybody studying in IIT Madras? Correct. Please stand up. You all supposed to be the high-tech brain studying in IIT Madras, a college which I left in 1981. Institute. Which is the alphabet that is not there on the screen? Look at me. Don't look at the screen. Look at me and answer. Takkin edan alphabet sollu. B. Q. Sit. S. You attended my session. You shut up and very sit down. Yeah. Why? Why did you say B? It must have some meaning or reference. You thought A will be there, so that is excessive thinking. Overthinking. IIT, correct. Arey Baba. So this is laptop syndrome. Okay. You looked at the left side and you didn't see the alphabet, but Prabhu knew the answer. Remove the I from the equation. When you are in a team and you're pursuing a passion which is different, remove the I. It's about us. It's about we. You remove the I. When you remove the I, this is metaphorical. I mean, this is just it's got no reflection on anything that you guys do here. You have an exam tomorrow. Day after. This is awesome preparation. I'm telling you, you'll kill your exam. Just write all what I've said and the prince. Rock it. So what happens is, this four of you are from the IIT, you come here like this. This is a gear, right? It's spinning. Now you put it down, it'll go through that door. You turn it here, it'll go through this door, you turn it here. This is a dummy door, but it'll still go through this door. It'll go. Put it there, it'll go through the wall if it's got the power. What happens is when you work in a team, or when you join the IIT, from somewhere you would have come and joined IIT. First day you would have some orientation or something. And this is the orientation. Where you are told, ki, boss, this is the rule. Full sleeve, white shirt, black pant, belt gilna matino, chappalla varakuda class la, dadi. I'm just giving an example. And ABC, I know IIT la adalla onnu learn. So, process, form, structure. Now when you get your first assignment as a team, till now you are the stud, all alone. You are that gear all alone. You come from wherever, you knew everything. As far as you're concerned, you got admission into premier educational institution of the country. One amongst the top in the world. Suddenly when you get into a team, boss, you're not alone, you're like this. There are more people. You cannot run at the pace that you desire. You have to run at the pace of the LCM of the team. Otherwise, it will not provide the desired synergy. If you want to increase everybody's pace, it's a graduated effort. Somewhere down the line, your team will become like this. Large number of more people. And just when you suddenly realize that, Dr. Kamagotia has a fantastic job. He's the director of your institute? Yeah. He sits in that corner office and comes in that long car. And he attends these fancy conferences and comes on TV and ABC and he's what a life he's having. His life is like this. As will be yours. Particularly when you choose this path of allowing your brain to free itself from the mind. But through all this, please remember, your brain is an organ that is capable of independent thought. Don't allow it to be the victim of somebody else's thought all the time. Use somebody else's thought and knowledge as a base and free your brain and let it wander. That's where discoveries happen. That's where spectacular changes happen. So creative thinking, multiple ways of doing it. Essentially, don't say I've heard this before, don't criticize, don't condemn, don't disrupt. Provide the freedom, creation will happen on its own. When you're too restrictive, creativity stops. Whether it's a song or a dance form, critical thinking is oft. Keep thinking above or beyond. Don't be afraid of what you think is uncertain or unknown. Everybody has a fear. Okay. Man, is it real or studio? Inga anga paakadhu, adhe picture na. Real. Per enna? Unga perla, idu per. Illa, per enna naka, lot of people tell me their names only. So I have to be very clear. Seriyada? Bed bug. Pavo sir ade, bed bug illade. Some microorganism. If you know the answer, I will not ask you. That's the magic, na? Then my suspense is gone. But if you don't know the answer, how will you answer? So please answer. Yeah. Stand up. Tardigrade. How do you know? What can you tell me about the tardigrade?
I think it's the smallest creature in the world.
Wow, I don't know if it stakes claim to that, but it is a very small creature. It's microscopic, we will give that much. It lives at the bottom of the ocean, that's the other thing. A full-grown tardigrade is probably 0.05 millimeters, which means you can't see it. In one handful, you will have about 7,642,212. Give or take a few dozen, yeah. Yeah, tell me something else.
It withstands high temperature and very dynamic environment.
Give him a bloody generous round of applause. Correct. Tell me something else. Okay, so they've sent it to space. So it went like that to space and came back like that. No change. They put it inside a thermos. They closed the thermos for 7 days. Came out like that. When you take it out of water, which is its natural habitat, it dehydrates and becomes like a speck of dust and flies away. When it falls down somewhere where it gets some water, it will soak up that water, get nourishment and become like this again. So what does it tell you? I'm not dying. Correct. What else? So many things. Curious, it's gone to space. Probably it's found out a few things. But we take pleasure in saying either unicell good microscopic creature brain gilna kadiyadu. Namakku dhaan nariya irukku. But who knows, it's found out more things than we. Do you know your ancestor was a cell? Maybe hundreds of millions of years ago, your ancestor was a cell. One single cell, floating around, product of some lightning and thunder somewhere. One cell. That makes you my long lost brother also. Because if there was one cell, we are all from there only. You must study the evolution of how people have come about. When agriculture was started, people became shorter and smaller. You must know and ask why. Because they stopped hunting. They stopped running, they stopped becoming fit, they stopped chasing animals, they stopped fighting with animals, they grew crops and ate them, so they became shorter and weaker. That's how we evolved. Initially we had only 3 fingers. Then we started standing up and plucking fruit from trees. You required the dexterity of 2 more fingers, so you had 5. Some require more dexterity, so they have 6. Now you operate and cut away the 6th. And I'm just saying, how and why? Please ask these questions. Whenever you see something, you'll learn something new. Thank you, son, but that's the tardigrade, and this is what the tardigrade does. This is resilience at its very best. challenge people. If I'm older than you, if I'm standing here and speaking, please challenge me on the strength of your knowledge. A great challenge regenerates a good teacher. If your teacher doesn't want to be challenged by your knowledge, that teacher is no teacher, useless. I'll say it straight and I'll say it blunt. Any teacher who cannot listen to a valid, theoretical, sound, fact-based argument in class does not deserve to be in that institute. End of story. But it has to comply with the norms of society. It cannot be rude, it cannot be impolite, it cannot insult. But argument must be there. I would take argument to the point of dissent. But just to the point of dissent. So that's very important. Perpetual optimism. Tomorrow office time will be from 6 in the morning for all of Chennai. Awesome. 4:30 you get the best vadas in Chennai, which only those of us who are mad enough to cycle at 4:30 know. Priceless. No traffic. No Saidapet, Tenambet, bloody Nandanam, red light. Mount Road is now only about red lights. And not allowed right turns. Red hearts, correct. Mumbai has done something outstanding. Do you know that? I don't think it's done in all red lights, but in one red light, and it's covered excessively on YouTube. So, they put a decibel meter. So traffic light will indicate if you're standing on your horn, that will tell you you're at 860 decibels, and that meter, which came from 100 seconds to 5 seconds, will go back to 100. So you can keep standing on your horn, it will keep doing 100 again for you. So what happens, the next chap in that fancy Jaguar car will get out and give you a tight slap and say, take your bloody finger off that horn. We will live in a quieter world. You must in Chennai also. So perpetual optimism, learn to stay happy. So have you heard of the domino theory? Can somebody quickly tell me domino theory? Anybody's heard about the domino theory? You would have heard because you read that book also. Okay, the domino theory is quite simple. Dominoes are little dominoes, So I'll show you a little video.
But what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino which is about 1.5 times larger. What I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. The largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds and is more than 1 meter tall.